You've got mail, baby, yeah.
Do I want to create a Safemoon clone on the Binance Smart Chain for a hip-hop development label called Bizzare Brilliance? Yeah. So the first thing we're going to need is a copy of Metamask. You can download this from metamask.io. This will give us this lovely Chrome extension. And I've already got some BNB in my account. We're going to need this to pay for transaction fees. BNB is a native token of the Binance Smart Chain. If you don't have this already, you can buy it on Binance and then send it to your wallet address, which is this one here. Once we've got Metamask set up, we can jump into Ethereum's Remix platform. This is an online editor for writing and deploying smart contracts in Solidity, which both Ethereum and the Binance Smart Chain use. So let's go into contracts and create a new contract. I'm going to call this brill.sol. I'm going to go to the GitHub repository for Safemoon. All the links for this are in the blog post linked to in the description. Let's go to the safemoon.sol file. I'm going to click raw now to get the actual raw text. Control A, Control C to copy and paste this into Remix. Now there's some variables we want to change in this contract. The contract itself starts on line 704. And I'm going to start by changing this Safemoon to Brill. Then I'm going to change the token name on line 722 to Bizzare Brilliance token. And then the token symbol, which is the same as a ticker, to Brill. Decimals I'm going to leave it the same. Then I'm going to change the circulating supply on line 718, and I'm going to have this as 100 billion tokens. Note that we're also including the 9 decimal places, which is standard. We can change this here. Many ERC20 tokens have 18 decimals. Max transaction amount, we can take this down a little bit as well. And the number of tokens to sell to add to the liquidity we can reduce. The Uniswap router v2 router address is actually addressed for PancakeSwap, which is the decentralized exchange we're going to be using on the Binance Smart Chain. And everything else looks good. So let's go and try and compile this. We're going to need a different compiler version. If we scroll to the top, we're using 0.6.12. It's quite an old contract now. Now let's try compiling that. No errors, so that looks good. Now let's deploy it. So we can deploy this in a VM to start with. Let's change the contracts to Brill. So Brill, contracts, brill.sol. That's the name that we called the contract. We can delete some of this text. Let's try deploying that. Right, now let's deploy it to the actual blockchain. So this is deploying it to a local VM on the browser. What we want to do is deploy it to an injected Web3 provider, which is where Metamask comes in. Let's authorize that. Now if we open up Metamask, so we've got our account loaded here. We've got 0.06 BNB in our account. We need to change the contract back to Brill. So the environment is injected Web3. The contract is brill.sol. It's going to cost 0.03 BNB, which is roughly $20. Transaction has been confirmed. Let's copy the contract address. We can go to BSCscan. Paste it in here. This is the equivalent of EtherScan for the Binance Smart Chain. Might take a few moments to update. We see we've got all the functions here. We can actually execute these functions from Remix. One thing we might want to do is transfer the owner. If you've got a developer, if you've got a third-party developer creating a token for you, you're going to probably want to transfer the ownership of that token to you once they finish the development side of things. You don't want a developer at a later stage being able to lock up the tokens or something like that. Let's see if BSCscan's updated now. Oh yeah, looks like we've got this. We can now verify and publish the contract. First, let's try adding the token contract address to Metamask. Let's go to import tokens, paste the contract address in here from Remix. See, it's already come up with Brill. Let's import those. And the full balance of Brill is in our wallet. So the wallet that deploys the contract ended up with all the tokens so they can distribute them from there. Another thing we can do is verify and publish this contract on BSCscan. The contract address is correct. We want Solidity single file and set the compiler version to 0.612, I think it was. No license required. Let's continue. Then we'll copy and paste the code from Remix. We don't need any constructor arguments, so we confirm we're not a robot and verify this contract. And the final thing I'm going to do is copy all this source code to a local text file, so if I lose it in Remix, I've got a copy of it locally. So if I want to verify contracts in the future, then I have that source code. Okay, now let's try adding some liquidity to PancakeSwap. Let's go to liquidity, add liquidity. The currency I want to add is going to be part BNB, and then part Brill, which is the token we just deployed. Let's add 0.001 BNB to 1000 Brill. Approve transaction spending. And we can now supply those tokens, creating a new liquidity pool for 0.001 BNB and 1000 Brill of our own tokens. It's obviously a very small liquidity pool, and the owner of this contract will likely want to add more liquidity at a later date. So we can now trade these tokens on PancakeSwap. Someone can go in and buy this Brill token. Finally, what we want to do is send the rest of these tokens over to Derek and renounce ownership. We want to transfer ownership of the contract to him. Hopefully we've got enough BNB left to do that. So let's, oh, not BNB. Okay, so let's go back to assets, go down to the Brill token and send max amount. Confirm that transaction. Go back to the contract address. We need to write contract, connect to Web3, should be Metamask. Scroll down, transfer ownership. Transfer ownership. Confirm the transaction. And that's now done. Let's refresh this page, back to contract, read contract. Let's scroll down. And we can see the new owner address is reflected in number 11 owner. That's really important from a security perspective, especially if you're having a third-party developer create your contracts for you. You want to own the contract yourself rather than have someone else or a third party you might not be very trusting in to be able to lock and unlock and maybe even mint new tokens and things like that in some contracts. There's nothing more I can do now. I've renounced ownership and sent all the tokens across, so my work here is done. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to clone a Safemoon token on Binance Smart Chain. Subscribe to the channel for updates, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and for more details check out the blog post linked in the description. Thank you for watching.